Did you know that beetles can be farmers too? My name is Sophie, and this past summer I did research with the Skelton lab on Ambrosia beetles. Ambrosia beetles are often referred to as fungus farmers, and that's because they fly around carrying fungal spores, which are like seeds for fungi, looking for trees that are dead or nearly dead. In these trees, they build tunnels called galleries, and in their galleries, they deposit their fungal spores. These fungi are wood decomposers, meaning that they draw nutrition from the wood tissue to grow. Once the beetles have successfully grown their fungal garden, they will rely on it as their sole source of nutrition. But the beetles aren't the only ones benefiting from this relationship. The hardest part of a wood decomposing fungi's life is getting past the bark of a tree. So the ambrosia beetle will provide the fungus with direct transportation to the nutritious portion of the tree, helping it spread and grow in its environment. And what's really cool about ambrosia beetles is that there are many different species of them, but each species of ambrosia beetle has a specific relationship with usually just one, but sometimes a couple species of fungi. This means that if you know the beetle, you'll know the fungus. And if you know a fungus, you know what beetle put it there. So part of the work I've been doing this summer with the Skelton Lab is helping build a fungal database of all the beetle species we have here on campus and the fungi they carry. Now, work involves trapping beetles using a trap called a Lindgren funnel trap. The beetles will fly into it and fall at the bucket at the bottom. Once we have the beetle, we can identify their species under a microscope. And like I said before, beetles carry fungal spores with them, so we can spread them out onto a petri dish and their fungus will grow. Once we have a good, clean sample of the beetle's fungus, then we can extract its DNA and sequence it to identify the fungal species. So that's how we've been building a database of all the beetles and their fungi we have here on campus. And I've been using that database to design and set up my own experiment. I read a study that showed that when they took a species of ambrosia beetle and they presented it with a choice between a log that had no fungus in it and a log that was already carrying its fungal symbiont, 80% of the time, the beetle chose to colonize the log that was already carrying its fungal symbiont. The authors of the paper believe that the fungus was releasing some kind of pheromone to attract its beetle partner. And so I wanted to test out that idea in a more natural setting and with more species of beetles. So here's a simplified view of my experimental design. On the left here, I have a negative control log, which has no fungus in it. And on the right, I have a log which contains my beetle's fungal symbiont. And I've left these logs to hang in the woods and on campus for the next couple of months, in the hope that the beetles will fly out, find the logs, do their thing, and deposit their fungus. At the end, I will collect the logs and I will take samples from them, and I will use a technique called DNA metabarcoding to identify all the fungal species that ended up growing in the log. The idea is that if a species of beetle is preferentially choosing a specific log to go into, their associative fungus will have a more dominant presence in the log and that will reduce fungal diversity in the log. But regardless of what the results will be, understanding beetle behavior and host selection in ambrosia beetles is beneficial because although ambrosia beetles play an important role in forest ecosystems, they can also sometimes be harmful. For example, in agricultural settings, trees are often in a state of slight distress and are a bit unhealthy, and ambrosia beetles can mistake them for dying trees and colonize them and cause even more harm to them. So that's a real issue that farmers have to deal with. Furthermore, invasive species of ambrosia beetles have been introduced to the US and have been causing a lot of harm to our forest ecosystems in the southeast. So better understanding beetle behavior can help us innovate more effective and specific traps so that we can manage ambrosia beetle populations when they become harmful. Thank you.